Voila, D. What's going on? Hey, hey, hi, hi, ho, ho. Well, Homesteader, what's going on? John, Hunk, what up? Spicy, Sarah, what up? Man, I need to, I think I need a haircut. I think it's grooming time. Gotta groom myself. Look at that painting. Just finished that bad boy. What up? It's a home stream. Got nothing planned. Um, I'm very excited about Unauthorized for those of you who didn't see Owen's stream. Uh, the exciting news that I've joined the Unauthorized .tv fam, which I'm very excited about because I get to really concentrate and focus on creating some exclusive content for Unauthorized. So I know many of you who are already signed up because of Owen or I don't know Stefan Molyneux or the any of the Homesteader people. I mean, there's a big variety of people on there that are producing awesome stuff. Um, but if you're not signed up and you like what some of the stuff I do or a lot of the stuff I do, it's a great way to support me and to support a platform that isn't run by a bunch of psychopathic, degenerate utilitarians. So, yeah, I'm going to be focusing a lot on animation and things like that, and the things that I'm going to post, I'm going to not only post like teasers and stuff to say Instagram or TikTok or whatever other uh, you know platform that likely will delete me at any given moment. So that's so if you're interested in that and you don't have an account, I think it's like $5. Go sign up, support me, and that's where I'll start delivering some like really great unique content that won't be seen anywhere else. Great guitar playing. And my that I posted in my I posted a song. I covered a John Prine song called "Caravan of Fools." So you and Barricade should eventually make a video. Yeah, I think me and Barricade Garage could probably do a call and response style video where we do a skit or something, and we don't even have to do it live. It would be cool. Um, I think you're the only one that can pull off that hat. Yeah, this and I don't wear hats. I don't really like hats unless it's kind of like a cowboy kind of head. Good Hodge twins. Yeah, thank you. I was watching Barricade, which is hilarious because he mentioned it on a previous stream, and I always thought it was weird, but I never really wanted to say anything because I thought the yeah was so like gross and just like kind of like porny and like just gross. Like I remember it coming down like downstairs, one morning maybe, and I'm slowly heading to the couch, maybe gonna make some coffee, and Megan's in the kitchen on her phone or watching something on the iPad, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah. And I'm like, damn, what are you watching, girl? To kick you off the internet, girl. She's like, what? I'm just watching a conservative podcast. And then right after she says that, it's like, oh yeah. I was like, all right, well, I guess I mean, it's not surprising anymore. That embodies modern conservatism today. Yeah. But I think that's funny because I really relate to that because Barricade's making fun of modern conservatism or making fun of this guy or that guy, and he's touching on how there's always a sacred cow. I mean, it's constant. It's Jesse Lee Peterson. It's the Hodge twins. It's a moon landing. It's Charlie Kirk for me and all those other guys, and it's fun to see. I actually enjoy it watching other people go through the target practice, the hitting the target and getting the response. You don't hit it just because you know there's going to be a response. You hit it because it's hittable. It's not because you know it's going to be provocative. That's kind of like a cherry on top. It's because no one's hitting the target, you know? So yeah. Barricade was right about Jesse Lee Sound. Like, yeah, that guy is pretty difficult for me to do. I did find someone who's insanely talented at Jesse Lee Peterson. So I'm actually slowly working on releasing an animation of that, and I'll credit him, but I'm going to release it to unauthorized. So that's how a lot of these things are going to work for me. I'm not going to be stingy with creating stuff. I'll always create stuff. I'll always create drawings and memes and things, but some of the more higher production value stuff, the things that take a little more time and effort, those will only be posted on unauthorized.tv. So again, if you missed the beginning of this, if you want to support me, that's a great way to support me now, because all of these other platforms, they're not very supportive, and they're all owned by someone else. Good comedy about with Owen about not having a bear name. Yeah, that was hilarious, wasn't it? It was so funny because he's just like, so what's it gonna, what's it gonna be? And he's like, I can't believe you don't have a bear name. And I'm just like, and he's like, fuck you, Jim Bob. I think that's hilarious. Because I just don't care. I mean, I don't care. I don't, it's not an important thing for me. I was just watching Shapiro and Obama debate. Yeah. Musk. Sexualized Kool-Aid sound. Is that the Kool-Aid sound? Maybe that's why they do it. JLP impression may be too hard. Yeah, I just go into like a retarded Sylvester Stallone. But I also, don't need to be the special guy who needs to be able to do every single one. I could probably get really good at it, but if someone's good at it and they reach out and show me, I will be like, all right, cool. I will utilize your talent and skill and, co-create, I think that's really cool. We'll still live stream. Yeah, I'll live stream on here. When they get better on unauthorized and really work out any kinks, I don't even know if there's anything to really work out besides the chat. As far as their live streaming, I'll probably do that as well. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm not sure people will pay a membership just to see live stream. I think live streaming's fun. I think we have a good time. I do a lot of impersonations and talk about different things, but I don't think for me it's a high production value. I think it's cool. I just don't expect people to pay a membership to see me live stream. But if I create really cool, unique stuff that might actually come out of the live stream, whether it be an impression or some fun ideas, I think that's more fair of an exchange. Jim Bob Bear doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right for me to have a bear name. Mark Wiggler, $5. Thank you. Unauthorized TV signing bonus. Hey, thanks a lot, Mark. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited. I also want to, because Owen creates so much. So people will, just because of who he is, they'll support without even going over to unauthorized. And we talked about it on his stream for a moment, how it would be great to focus and have, and I would love to encourage him and influence him in some way to produce more exclusive content. Because to me, it seems like the obvious shift would be to push people actually to be on unauthorized and get a lot of their content the same from there, as opposed to it being sort of like a backup plan or like something just to support. That's kind of cool. And that, I think that does require creating some very unique stuff that's exclusive to that platform. And I think that's what will make it great. And that includes, I know, Stefan Molyneux is on there, but he's not exclusive. Like it's more of like another channel that'll reserve his stuff. And, anyone who's on there, it would actually benefit them and the unauthorized itself as a platform to make and focus exclusive stuff there. and so that you can only get it there. I can't make people do that, but I do encourage anybody to do that. Been around for 5 years, still no bear name. Yeah. Um, these pro-Trump people like the Hodge twins are losing steam as Trump is not relevant. Yeah, it's just that's why you never, you don't put all your bags on one donkey or any donkey. I mean, eventually you zoom out, you think you're moving, and then you realize you just put all your bags on a jackass, and there's no real horse because there's no real race. So you don't have a horse in the race, a dog in the race, whatever the hell the phrase is. You constantly realize, oh, every 2 years, every 4 years, we do the same bullshit cycle, and it's obvious that it's all the same fake binary game. They're all playing a similar game, different strategies, maybe different goals, but essentially it's the same goal under the umbrella of power, control, manipulation, legislation, whatever, dominance, whatever it is. So you don't have a dog in your horse. Yeah, I don't have a dog in my horse. I mean, that's just it. So other than that, yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Right now, focusing on all these paintings that we've been behind on. For those of you who bought them, thanks for your patience. We're just knocking out so many right now, and getting ready for the books to arrive on their pallets. And we're looking at the sticker pack. I started with like 9 designs, so I have to narrow it down to the funniest ones for you guys. And again, those people who purchase before the first batch is shipped is a part of the pre-order. So technically, if you order the book now, still you get you're considered a pre-order and you get the sticker pack and the extras. So howdy, folks. Hey, Tiger Bear. Got the vegan shirt. Oh, that's awesome. I wear that. I wear that out too. The Einstein cartoon. Yeah, actually, Sterling. That was kind of like another. The first time I posted about the moon landing, that was one shift in the Jim Bob following. But then the Einstein thing was a whole other thing. It was crazy because the Einstein thing is hilarious because it's true. And if I'll try to remember it, it was just a picture of Einstein, and it said, "Observe an effect, invent a cause. It's science," and that's exactly what happened. And so all these crazy people were like, "Now you've gone too far, questioning relativity." And they couldn't actually argue anything. They couldn't refute the meme. They couldn't refute any arguments I made, and that shows a level of zealotry, the religious investment in man's knowledge as a whole, not just Einstein, but just generally. You'll get someone who's like, dude, this pandemic is nonsense. Trust the science, my ass. Like they just do all that rhetoric, and then you go, yeah, but what about Einstein? And they're like, nah, I don't want to be. I don't want to sound crazy. I don't want to be like crazy, And then you're like, well, you got to look at it from all points of view. Observe the effect. Exactly. Yeah. Hello from Northwest Ohio. Hey. Yeah, that's fun to explore that. I actually have hit that sticker as a possible sticker option. But instead of that, he's saying just kidding, which I think is pretty funny as a t-shirt. Just Einstein, and he's just saying just kidding. I think that hits a little harder, actually. Fauci's hair is bound to get crazier and crazier. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be relevant either. I don't know. Maybe I'll be relevant. Maybe I'm waiting for a book deal. I mean, how obvious can it be that I'm still around and I'll sell my other book about the being the hero of the pandemic along with Cuomo? He could be holding a violin too. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Man, the left is crazy, man. Yeah. What is Obama having a party, like not wearing masks and stuff? Man, they don't follow their own rhetoric, man. Yeah. Man, we got a good show tonight. Yeah, it's a good show. Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, we got a great show. We're gonna be on Crowder later. Yeah. Got a migraine. A lot of people have having migraines lately. I'm mad at you. Do the Hodge twins impression. No, it's about the same. I mean, once you do that, yeah. I mean, all you gotta do is like talk. I mean, you said it like, what did you say? The Muppets. They're like Bert and Ernie. Like, yeah. It's weird because the difference between yeah and is so blatant. It's like so different. You know, they come in with that like gross, perverted sound, and then they're all like, yeah, Obama having a party. Fauci means sickle. I thought it means mouth too. Doesn't it mean mouth? I don't know. It probably means both. Dude, that's funny though, Barricade, watching you deal with all the people. You know, you touch the right button and they come flying in. It's like you're at a horse race and you're like standing next to someone and you think you're all on the same team. And then you're like, that horse is all fucked up looking. And they're like, that's my horse. I put money on that horse. We're on the same team. And you're like, what team? Like, what team? Were any of these people, are the Hodge twins in your backyard helping you, pull the beets and the carrots? What are they doing? Do they know you exist? It's just like watching a football game or a baseball game where you go and you're so dedicated to the team and the players. And I get it. There's camaraderie. There's culture to it. I get it. But the guy who's on deck and he's swinging, he doesn't know you. You think you know him, but he doesn't know you. He doesn't even know you're in the stands. He doesn't know your name. He doesn't even know how many people are in the stands. And the people in the stands are always looking at the players, in this case the politicians, the pundits, and they're like, "Yeah. That's my guy, dude." It's like, "That's my guy. Why dude, why do you have to infight? Why do you have to infight?" It's like, in where? Infight where? In my house? What am I doing? I draw, paint, do impressions, play some guitar, hang out, watch other comedians do stuff. What are you talking about with this in where? Yeah, like in. It's like, stop making fun of Shapiro, dude. He's helping. I don't care. Helping what? He doesn't help me. He's never promoted a thing I've done. It's just funny to watch. At WWE, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Barricade, I was like, I was saying at the beginning how when you said that, it sounds all gross and perverted. I was telling the people that I came downstairs one day, like in the morning, and I was like all groggy and maybe wanted coffee, and my wife was like watching something on her phone or iPad, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, and I was like, what was like, what are you watching? She's like, oh, just like a conservative show or podcast. She's not like invested. She's just like someone, sent it or she knows about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is just a conservative, podcast thing. That's cool. And it's just like she's like scrambling eggs, and there's just one more like, yeah, yeah, we a conservative podcast, yeah. I'm like, get out of my wife's ears. In their defense, the Hodge twins will probably pull out. Oh God. What up? Shapiro only helps himself and his buddies. Yeah, there really is like like in a way, to me, there's no in fighting. But from that paradigm, it makes sense that there is an in. There is an in group. There is a thing called it's the left. Blame the left. Whatever. Support the right at any cost. Support any of the talking heads. It's better that we all get along. And it's like, it's not about getting along. It's just about doing what I do and a lot of other people do, is pointing out what we see. And there's nothing more to it. There's nothing more that needs justification. You don't have to justify any ridicule or mockery to the imaginary team that's going, yo, but you're wearing our jersey, right? You're like, no, I'm not wearing your jersey. I know it sounds like it because I'll hit some targets that you like. But the moment I hit a target you don't like, ooh, that hurts. No cutaway on the Waterloo? No, there's no cutaway. It's a very small parlor-sized guitar. Very punchy, too. I love it. BG, great stream. Yeah, he had a great stream. It's fun watching him deal with some of the people in his chat. Man. I used to watch them because they were comedians well before they were conservative. Yeah, you just I call it coagulation, and I'm trying to be aware of it myself in whatever I'm doing. And what I mean by coagulate is the same way like blood scabs over, or, a pool of blood it becomes gelatinous. And it's really easy to do that if you have a really good income that's given by a certain niche or a certain platform or a certain narrative. And if you get too comfortable, it's really easy to justify not going outside the narrative in order to take the money. And just in what I've learned over my life and developing skills that don't require narrative, like, I'm a jewelry maker. I could work metals. I have a background in carpentry. There's always something that you can do skillfully, and comedy is one of those things that if you do it well, you're not in real danger you're not vulnerable to that coagulation process where you start to harden and become gelatinous and you become solid form because of everything you're connected to, and that's paying you and feeding you. And then you can't say things, and you can't make fun of Jews, and you can't make fun of black people and all this stuff, or gays, or the alphabet, whatever it is. It becomes apparent, and you can see it. And a lot of the targets that I hit, it really is that world where there's certain things they can't say, they just can't say it. And yet they also need the fringe, they need the fringe to exist so that they're not the fringe. So they can point to the fringe and be like, like, we're not that, we're not crazy. We are the organized, we are the developed, we are the intellectual, we are the smart, the higher IQ, the higher class.
conservative movement. That is who we are. We're not those crazy people who are questioning the moon landing, or like, questioning Einstein. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
And you're like, yeah, but, you know, it's still a symbiotic relationship. We're on the fringe. We make fun of you. You get to be the proper boy in your little chair with the director,
Shapiro on the back of the chair. I always want to be the director. I mean, I'm changing Hollywood one clip at a time. One clip at a time. You know, anyone who comes from the left who gets eaten by the left, we are there to save them. We are their safety net. We are like a backup. Like they are squirrel suit divers, and we are their backup squirrel suit. We are their backup parachute. For those of you, many of you saw, how I heroically came in with the Daily Wire when Gina Carano got kicked out of Star Wars. I was like, this is my game, gang. This is my game. I come in. I swoop in. We are the established right. We're the ones influencing culture and art. I always knew I'd be a highly influential art director.
Anyway, it's all. You can see it everywhere. You can see it everywhere. Jamab got ads in that front. What ad? Oh, do you guys see ads? To get super chats, I have to put it on monetization. I don't know what that means for you guys. I hope it's not running like a penis pump ad or something, because then I'd have to turn it off. But it's a shame that I need to put on that to get a super chat, and then I don't know what it's actually advertising. If that's what you mean by ads. Norm McDonald's a prime example of not doing. Yeah. There's certain people who can just do it. They can just, they keep going with the truth. The only real team there can possibly be, objectively speaking, is pointing to the truth, and pointing to lies, and that's pretty much a really great place to be if you're any sort of expressionist. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're a writer, if you're comedian, cartoonist, whatever, you can't really go wrong if you attack and go for truth and attack absurdities or some sort of inversion, because you'll be able to see it from all angles and from all sides, and it's a really great place to be. It's actually the safest place to be, always, because the moment you get ridiculed, you're not my team. You go, yeah, you're right. I'm on this team. Even Norm admits that he won't go after certain things. Yeah, I mean, that is some level of honesty, He would probably even say why. But there are people who just don't even hear it's like,
that doesn't exist. I cannot look at that. I cannot look at that. That's outside of the norm, folks. That's all, folks.
Making fun of Sammy Davis Jr. will get you permanently banned. Always playing the role of the adult in the room. Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. That's a great way of actually categorizing what that brand is.
We are the adults in a room. We are the adults in a room. Someone's got to do it, folks.
I got ads for jabs. Great, Kyle. Well, that sucks. I just want public figures to admit they can't say what they want. Yeah, that would be helpful. Then it would be like at least a more honest entertainment program. I always thought the same with politicians. If it was out in the open, like what do you call it? You break the fourth wall or whatever, where it's post-production, it's WWE, but then you're able to interact with it and accept it because it's such a joke. And then you're able to actually interact and enjoy it, as opposed to um, being demoralized by people who still think it's all real and are watching it in the stands of WWE, and they just ordered popcorn and like a pretzel with that fake space cheese, and they're still looking at you like, wait, like why are you telling me this isn't real? It's real, it's real. You're like, no, it's not real. But it's okay that's not real if you know it's not real, and then you could actually play with it a little bit. And they're like, no, 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 it's real. Leave me alone with my pretzel. Oh, thumb on the camera? My bad. Dan Crenshaw, the hipster pirate, who calls out the left. Yeah, I mean, they all just keep the same. They keep the same thing going. It's the left is bad. The left. It's just so stupid. It's all so dumb. I just saw like the most ridiculous thing from like Chocolate Candy Owens, and it was like a meme of her, like a picture of her and a picture of AOC, and she was like for me, ignore for her. And I'm like, we're watching Saved by the Bell. This is like Saved by the Bell. You know, Candace Owens. Like, what? Yeah, I call her Chocolate Candy Owens because if you were to like, if you really get inside the mind of like Dennis Prager or like Charlie Smallface Kirk, he'd be like, we love, we love Candace Owens. She is our little chocolate pudding popsicle that the conservative right always needed. She is the voice of the darkness that we never had. And we want more. We want real diversity. We have trans conservatives at Tapusa. We have lesbian conservatives at Tapusa. As long as they like capitalism, we are good. Candace is controlled opposition. Yeah, I actually let go of that term a little bit. I know it still applies potentially to some characters, and you might even be right. But the reason I don't really use that term is because um, you can see all you really need is a narrative. It doesn't take much to control people. Like, for instance, if you look outside and everybody who's freaking out and shivering with the mask for the last year and a half, and now they've got 3 on and they've been injected 5 times, they're, I mean, under the same definition, they're controlled opposition. But are they really controlled to this extent that like there's a sit down talk about it? Not really. It's just all you need is to deliver a narrative and find out what people want in place of truth. What they'll be able to what they'll trade in place of truth. And a lot of times it's money, status, safety, something like that on various scales. So safety would apply to the the faceless masses of people, and then status applies to a higher rung up on the pyramid. The pundits, the talking heads, who aren't really about safety, but about more so safety in their status, in their seat, in their little gold seat. They want to keep in their eyes what they've built and earned, and that's just human. But they'll trade it. They'll trade their dignity or their pursuit of truth or even some level of morality to keep it, and they'll justify it. They'll be like, well, it's I'm taking care of my family, so I'll do it. And that's it. That's kind of just what we're seeing all over the place. The term is already part of the tool set of those who would divide. Yeah, it is like a tool. Prager is the worst. Yeah, they're the worst over there. I hate all of their memes. I hate the bright orange. I hate the moment anyone on the left thinks the left. There is no right. There's only left. And you're like, shut up. Get out of your chair. Your dog's dead. Everyone knows your dog's dead. I want to put a thick veiny brown cigar in my mouth. The left, the left. The moment, listen, this is Dennis Prager at a meeting. Listen, the moment, he sounds a little bit like Bernie Sanders because he really does. He's like Bernie Sanders of the right. The moment anyone from Hollywood is cannibalized, we should be there to make them into a meme. The moment Dave Chappelle says anything that resembles anything of classical liberalism, I want you photoshopping, I want you using the magic wand, and I want you to slap him and his words on a tapusa or PragerU University orange meme. And they just do it nonstop. Like, I bet the people don't even like want that. They're like, "What, dude? I just said I don't really like PC stuff. That's all I said." And they're like, "Yeah, but now you belong on one of our memes." John Stream and $5. Ben, is it true you don't know how to swim?
Well, I really don't. I don't really know. The question isn't whether I know how to swim. The question is whether I need to know how to swim. I mean, that is just a real supply and demand question. It's like, if I can hire someone like a Brett, I found various men online, on a really great app called Grinder, where men can meet who also work very hard in a meritocracy, because that is what we are. That is what America is all about. Free markets and a meritocracy. So if I can hire someone, that is what the volunteerism is all about. That is what the free market is about. So yeah, I mean, could I probably learn to swim? Yeah. Do I need to? No. Will I always have enough money to hire someone to swim for me? Probably. It would be nice to, have the experience of teaching my children how to swim for the first time. I mean, but what is nice is not what always is necessary. That is the thing. So again, I hired someone else. I hired a Brett. I found a fabulous, a really great. I mean, these are the highest end prosthetics and makeup artists in the world, and I sought them out, and I got my Brett, and I met with Brett, and I said, listen, this is going to be a little bit weird for you, but this is the thing. This is about a free exchange. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you to act like you are me, and you are going to teach my kids how to swim. They will not know it. It is not you or me. They will not know it. I mean, take a look at these prosthetics. I mean, if there's anything, these people are giving like the wax museum artists a run for their money. I mean, so what you're going to do, Brett? And I'm going to hit you with a bonus. I'm going to hit you with a bonus because this is a little. I get it. This is a little bit weird, but here's the thing: you're going to put a mask on of me, and you're going to teach my children how to swim. They are going to have the memory of their daddy teaching them how to swim. That is all that matters. The outcome is all that matters.
Bushwhacking History Buffalo, $2. Thank you. Keep crushing. Thank you. Appreciate you. Meme wars. Yeah, exactly. PragerU Tapusa got labeled as extremists. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of extreme. There's nothing wrong with extremism. Prager in his cross-legged pants, right? Yeah, he's just constantly just as a front wedgie. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, even if you look up, there's actually a book. There's a book that's written by like this globalist shill called Turning Point. And if you read a summary of that book, I forget the guy's name, Fritzko or something like that. I don't know his name. Look up the novel. No, it's not a novel. It's a book, a globalist book called Turning Point. And it's just interesting that Tapusa, Turning Point USA, is named that. And you also see the globalist sort of agenda that's hidden under the guise of constitutionalism, and how you start to see through these various methods and narratives that you can actually seek and establish a kind of global law through the guise of constitutionalism. Like the same way democracy is sold. We need we need to spread democracy. It's a peace process. We're gonna spread democracy as if democracy is amazing. Majority rule is not amazing, but constitutionalism is slightly better than majority rule, and it uses representative republic democracy. But at the same time, when you use constitutionalism, the inevitable end, if you aren't basing your nation or your community or your city or your state on the in-group preference and values of your people, the practices, the customs, the theology, the food, whatever it is, that's the identity. Constitutionalism isn't an identity. But America is an idea. America is an idea. I'm Charlie Kirk. And so you can see how that narrative sounds really good. Oh, everyone should everyone should follow the feather pen constitutional enlightenment thinker model. And it's hard to argue against at the superficial level. But if you get down into the nitty gritty, you can really see how there are a lot of platforms that can get you to an end goal of globalism. And I think capitalism, under the guise of free markets, under the guise of classical liberalism or constitutionalism, can easily be another Zephyr that can be ridden to the end goal of a one world, single constitutional, a world republic, basically. So would there really be any difference between the technocratic, global, Klaus Schwab bullshit and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk's wet dream of a constitutional global republic? I don't think there'd be much of a difference. Uh-huh. 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 I can only picture Ben swimming with arm floaties. Exactly. I'm going to take note of that. It'd be fun to do an animation of Ben Shapiro, like what I just did, is like hiring Brett to put on a face of him, and he's teaching his little kids how to swim. I don't really want to include other people's kids in an animation, though, even though it's such a funny idea. Like, I wouldn't actually draw them, but it's really funny to think of him hiring out a version of himself to do fatherly things.
That is completely unfounded. It's not only reprehensible of you to assume that, but it's actually, it's unfounded. If you would like to provide any sort of evidence that I've ever done that, by all means, I'm happy to look at the evidence. Once I look at the evidence, I'll write an article about it. That is the thing. That is the thing.
They all keep playing with the red narrative balloon. Yeah. And again, I think it's a popped balloon. I think for many of us, we've seen it. Perhaps it's always been popped. Maybe it's been popped since, who knows, like before Reagan. We don't even know. But it's not only popped and ridiculous, it's boring. It's actually a boring dialectic to interact with at this point. And that's why they don't like the fringe people. They don't like it. Jordan Peterson, are you an alien?
Well, not that I know of, And if I was, I'm not sure that I would tell you. There's probably some sort of non-disclosure. But I have a fundamental problem with the alien concept, It's like people think, well, the universe is so expansive and infinite to our knowledge, it's absurd to think there isn't another life form. But the thing is, it would be equally plausible that we're the only thing in the expansive, infinite void. It's like both are appeals to, incredulity, you know? It's like, why would one be more likely than the other if the starting point is already a miracle? You know, it's like, fuck. It's like, I believe that the thought of an alien, you know, is, you know, the representation, the archetypical alien, you know? And I'm not just talking about E.T., you know, who's trying to phone home. But any aliens, whether they're nice or they're aggressive, you know, any model, the aliens, extraterrestrial, you know, they embody the mode of being, that which is unapprehended by humans. They represent a version of us that we're not yet capable of reaching, you know? So in a way, in a very deep sort of way, we're waiting for ourselves to visit, you know?
It's funny. Jordan Peterson's just turning into Miss Doubtfire.
It's like when we look at the sky, you know, it's like, where are they? You know, where are the others? You know, there's an otherness that's built into the premise of aliens' life form, you know? And it's like, I'll say it again. That which has you looking up to the sky, you know, is the same thing as asking, when are our future selves going to visit finally, you know? You know? And it's like, fuck. In short, I don't know. I very well could be, you know. It probably explains why I only eat raw meat. And I drink bloody lemonade. And I don't mean that in the colloquial British sense. I mean literally, it's bloody. And it's sweet. You know, it's like you see some of the dialectic out there, you know. It's the Scotsman, not a true Scotsman fallacy, you know. You see it everywhere, you know. It's like, you're not a real Christian. You hear it. Well, that's not real communism, you know. Well, that's not real socialism, you know. Well, that's not real anarchism, you know. And it's like, bloody hell. Well, that's not real meth. Don't tell me what real meth is. I've had it.
I would literally buy 12 Rules for Life. It was made by Jim Bob. Well, it's funny because I'll probably Owen said I should read some sections of Vox Day's Jordanetics, and like just have an animation of him like sitting in like a comfortable like lazy boy with some tea, with some blood tea, and just reading a section of Jordanetics.
12 rules for aliens, you know.
JBP gets worked up. He starts sounding like Shaggy. Yeah, he does.
It's like, you know, despite having a large, vast amount of supply chains at your command and a lot of conveniences at your fingertips, you know, it's like there's a brewing sense of collapse always around the turn, you know, that I could sense, and I think a lot of people sense it. It's not just me. And it's like there's a part of me, you know, there's a part of me that just wants to, you know, that stands still with the, you know, that that the hair on my neck stands up, and it's like, let's get out of here. It's like, Scooby, let's get out of here. It's like, yikes, let's get out of here. Hey, Jordan, sorry about the copper I stole from you last night. We all have a monster inside, you know. Is that Bitcoin Bear for $50? Thank you very much, you know. That's okay, you know. It's like you want to acknowledge the monster inside you. You know? Even if it's your cellmate, if you know what I mean. And it's like we all have a monster inside us. And I would argue that if you swear that you don't have a monster inside you, you probably have a bigger monster than you think. It's like, let's get out of here, Scooby. Thank you for that very generous tip, BTC Bear. I appreciate that. We all have our own little hells and we want to build our own little havens. Your Farsophosi game is at least as thoughtful as Jordan's actual philosophy. I don't know what that means. Farsophosi game. I've never heard that word. Farsophosi. I'm sure he pretty much said read the whole book straight. Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's why I admire him for the letters, because I look at a letter and I don't want to read a letter. Like, I look at words or an essay, if someone's like, read this, and I'm like, ugh. It's like, it's a selfish part of me. It's not because it's not going to be a nice thing. It's just, I don't like to donate my mind to actually reading a letter, especially live. I'm not even that good of a reader. I think that might be really the underlying thing. It's like fumbling words, and it's like, yeah, you're reading a letter, and it's like, Jim Bob, you help me, and I'm like trying to read it straight, and just play on the Pharisees. Trevor Shotkowski, $9.99. Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate that. Rappaport views on getting food late. I don't know. Farsophosi. Oh, I see what you mean. Wait, you're saying my impersonation of Jordan's stuff is almost as legit? I actually agree with that, because when I'm insulting him, it's not a deep insult. It's not super cutting. But by channeling him that are more true than his stuff. And it's not me. It's not like I'm doing that. Like, it's me. I'm special. It's just I really believe I'm like channeling something that he wants to say, that he's trying to say, and he is saying in some way, but not as straightforward. I hate reading and writing. I was just never good at it. I was never good at reading or writing. I almost failed second grade because of it. I was always drawing. Calendar. Yeah, if people told me to do that, but there's something that gets really cheap about it if you put it in a calendar. It sounds cool, though. I mean, especially if there's funny, like, dumb holidays. It's just, there's something really not appealing to me. You're standing in the stream of logos. He's not. You're more him than he is. Yeah. I think that's what it is. It's the context in which I'm attacking some of the ideas or re-representing what I think he's trying to say, but he doesn't say it. But he almost says it. And that's what makes him very successful, is that there's a whole demographic of people who actually appeal to some version of truth. So everyone's always looking for truth, but they're okay with a slightly counterfeit version, and when we really look at it, any wisdom
wisdom from man is not true wisdom, will be a counterfeit. Um, but I think there's something to that, like that's really worth looking at. Is it's like that scripture says there will be a time when men, their itching ears, they'll basically go to the false doctrine of people telling them what they want to hear, which is a part of truth. It's like, and they'll reject sound doctrine. So they'll take the thing that itches their ears, that scratches the itch in their ears, because it sounds right. It sounds good. It sounds intellectual. It sounds correct. It's based on something true. We know it, and that's true. But there's this weird fine line where you realize it's some form of inversion, or it's just borrowing. Carnal itch. I forgot the scripture. It's really good. I would look it up though. Basically, Google like there will be a time when men basically seek false doctrine or something like that, and they'll be hearing the false doctrine of basically charlatans. Also, the last days will be like children playing music in the square and saying, "I played, but you did not dance." There's something very relatable that corresponds to this world of people all having their digital podiums. Where JBP really lost me is when he was dishonest about being asked if he believed in God and basically inferred, "I never really thought about it." Yeah, he got all scared. His little crew in Hollywood, his managers were all like, "Stay ambiguous. It's the key." And then he probably internalizes it saying, well, I could reach more people if I'm not so, straightforward. It's like, I could maybe affect more people in the latter half, collectively, It's a utilitarian mindset. Utilitarianism will always have you thinking pragmatically when telling the truth is many times not pragmatic at all. That's why morality and it can't be pragmatism, because it's sometimes very much against your momentary appetite or needs or wants to say the truth sometimes. It sometimes goes completely against you. It's sometimes annoying. Sometimes it hurts people around you in some weird way. So if you trade off saying the truth for what's pragmatic, you think you're doing generally on a net balance a better thing. You can easily convince yourself of that, where you're like, well, I'll just sign on to CAA. They can't truly be demons, even though I signed the contract with my pinky. It's like, well, if they could get me a lot of money, it's not about getting a lot of money. It's about doing good with that money and that power, It's like, I'll just go that route. But he knows that wasn't the right thing. Could the rebellion against Hollyweird bring more people? I don't think so. I don't think people come to religion. I really, looking at it theologically, scripturally, and just philosophically, it all comes to one conclusion: is that everyone knows God exists. That's where I stand. Everyone actually knows it, and they're either rejecting it or accepting that. And so there's no really, even though I get the saying and the phrase, and it's very relatable to a lot of us, how you come back to, there's no, in a way, yeah, you can come back to faith, but in a higher sense of it, you never actually leave. You just reject ongoingly. You just reject the part of you that's looking to acknowledge that. Reject the reasoning. Reject the fact that you take a lot of things ad hoc, like your moral sense inside your heart, that's not found in your body. Truth that's not found in your brain.
Yes, well, truth is, well, yes, you don't have to find it in your brain to know that it exists. That's up to yeah.
The part of you that just wants to reduce everything to material.
Well, that's all we have, yeah. The only knowledge we have is from science and empiricism. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't know how a crabby works, yeah? Ugh. Get off me. You wouldn't know how crabbies work.
Dildo Dawkins, have you ever said thank God after a near-death experience?
Well, I may have said it uttered under my breath, but that is not saying it, authentically believing it, yeah? That is a saying, yes. It's like saying God bless you, I have said many times, well, bless you, when someone sneezes. It's simply a cultural thing, yeah? It's just customary, yeah? Rubbish. But no, I've never actually put myself in a position where I'm near death. And if I was near death, I wouldn't have known it. Yeah, thank God. There, I did it. I said it again. Yeah. Got me. You got me. There, you got me. Yeah.
What is the best way to argue these absolutes to someone who isn't quite as intelligent? You don't need to argue. You really just don't need to.
Where's hoob, hebby, hubba, hab? Hibbity boppity boo. Bippity boppity boo. The mouse went
I don't even know that. Just imagine Dildo Dawkins reading to his daughter as a kid. Just some weird. He thinks that reading the Bible is like terrible to your kids, teaching creation. But then he's just like,
I know you're only 2, but it's important for you to know. Yeah, before you said, where do I come from? Yes, me and your mother, who I don't speak to anymore. It's not about what we did to produce you in the mechanistic sense. It's better to look at the grand scheme of things. Look at this. Look at this graph I drew. See that? That is an elephant. That is an elephant. This is a fish-taily whale. Whaley tail. This is a fossil. Can you say fossil? Yes, say it with me. Say it with me, fossil. Now, we came from rock. We came from a great explosion, bacterial explosion. And we were a rock, and then the fishy tail, and then the tail was like, oh, I want to come out of the water now. I want to eat a cantaloupe. I want to try a starfruity fruit. And so the fishtail grew what resembles what we believe in the scientific world. We believe that the fishy grew a little tongue, and it started to taste. Much like an eyeball. Yeah. Don't question me. Don't question me.
Ratso, thank you for the clarification, Dildo. Yeah, you're welcome.
Nah. Don't read that to your child. That's abuse. It's abusive to tell your child they are made in love. It's not abusive to tell your child they are a rock, that their life is meaningless, that they are just endlessly spinning into the abandoned void of nothingness. That is the truth. That is moral. It's your moral responsibility. Yeah?
I plan to sign up to unauthorized once Jim Bob starts there. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Yeah, when I post my first thing, I think later today, I'll post an animation, and then I'll be working on another animation, a total original one, which I'm really excited about. Hummingbird Ranch, $4.99. Thank you. JB recently found God's vibration after many years of ignoring his presence, and it's been amazing to see his work everywhere around you. Yep. Yeah, it's everywhere. The creation is everywhere. Gatekeepers, also gateways. Hey, Jim Bob, do a barricade impression? I can't do that just now. I'll maybe work on one. Love your Bernie Sanders. Thank you. Look. The corporations are taking over. We want to reduce their greed and their influence on local and state and national level legislation. However, I will not call out the pharmaceutical companies that are currently jib-jabbing all of you in the arms, because the jib-jab is necessary. That is one example of massive conglomerate pharmaceutical powers that are unbridled and unchecked. That is one instance where I will not say anything about that. $5 free money for you. Thank you, Unmaker. Anyone hear about the new channel Ballooning with Lance and Tristan? I don't know who that is. Ah, 1%, 2%. Look, when I am at Walmart, I am disgusted by how rich they are, but I cannot help appreciate the variety of nuts and mixed nuts they have in their aisles. And be it that I drink milk often, when I hit the milk aisle, I am disgusted by how much is 1% and 2%. Fantastic Bernie. Too bad he's irrelevant. He really is irrelevant. He's really just he's just gone. Bro, you have to do a barricade impression now. No, I can't. I got to listen to you first. Like, I need to. My impression is like, it's almost like, I mean, I hate to say it, it's like witchcraft. It's like I sit in my car and I listen to the person and I'm just like, you know, like, and I need to like, I don't know how to describe it. I need to like partially become them and try to find out who they actually are. So I don't know if you want me to do an impression. I mean, you might see something, you'll be like, oh, shit. I would bet Bernie loves all the Little Debbie snack cakes. Oh, they are fantastic. Those little things, especially when the cream gets on your upper lip and nobody tells you because they know they are giving you a gift later. I will. I'll look at one though. I can't do one on the spot because I can't hear your voice. I can't hear your voice in my head. Any politicians relevant? No. They're only relevant to some weird, false, bullshit comic book story that you're looking at. So they can be very relevant if you're looking through the certain lens. But they're not relevant to most of the things you and I care about in these other outskirt communities. In the people who see through all the charades of right and left, you know, they're not relevant. They're fun to make fun of, but they're not. None of them are relevant. You think Breitbart was wrong and culture is downstream from? I think those two things can overlap pretty quickly. Like, politics are informed by culture, and you can't really. You could skip and pass legislation that doesn't agree with current culture. You'll get a backlash, but I would say it's easier, at least, to do legislation and politics downstream from culture, because if you could make something acceptable in culture, let's say putting the black color on the rainbow flag, if you know what I mean, then it's easier to actually pass things because you've got it approved. It's authorized in the system first, and then you can do some things. So I think he's right about that. I think he left out a key thing, is that first, culture's downstream from morality. Culture's downstream from philosophy, theology, religion. So anything you're pushing in culture, it's never really just some accident. There's always some tie to an ought claim that we should pursue some version of the future, some system. We should be anarchy. We should be this. We should be more There's all these ought should claims. And so if you really look at it, strictly, I don't think Breitbart really talked about that part too much, unless I just didn't see that part. So he was right, but he only put 2/3 of the equation in, which is politics is downstream from culture. Culture is downstream from religion, from some metaphysical philosophical claim that we ought to pursue something in culture or hold something true or keep something, or we ought to produce families, we ought to have churches, anything. It's all some must be grounded in a deeper worldview. So maybe worldview is a better term. If politics is downstream from culture, culture is downstream from your worldview, and everybody's competing to present their case or force their case or use coercion to get their worldview realized in the physical sense, both culture and politically. But politics influence culture now because politics is now cultural. It's like how can you separate politics from culture now if politics has now taken the position, and maybe it's always been there, it's just that we didn't notice it growing up, is that it's now the entertainment capital of the world. People are like, "What's the entertainment capital of the world?" And everyone's like, "Hollywood." You're like, "No, it's not even DC. It's national global politics. That's the capital of the world. The entertainment capital of the world is the internet. In social media, it's no longer Hollywood." So in that sense, yeah, I think that was true, and now we're in this weird moment where politics and entertainment culture are inextricably tied together, whereas before they just overlapped and you could still maybe separate them a little. Now there's no separation. Are you saying culture and politics is in a stream? Don't make no sense. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he was wrong though. 499. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that. Political, cultural fascism. Politicals are just actors. Yeah, they're all acting. Even if they don't start that way, you get into a room, you get all your supporters, you get the biggest, heaviest donators, you get their tailored interests. They're fed to you through some sort of, symposium group of managers, wranglers, or you look at like now I'm sure they just get a chart where they're just like, these are the trending terms, these are the trending hashtags, these are what people like, and they present it and you're confused by it, and then you're just like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, but I guess I'll just trust the data. And that's probably why Ben Shapiro sells sheets. Like, it wasn't his choice. They literally crunch numbers, and then he's just like,
Oh, okay. I get a bunch of people who are disgusted with their activities in bed, and they want new sheets, and they want high quality sheets. I basically have a demographic of people who don't want to be poor, who are just disgusted by poor people. Even if they are poor, they will spend the money on the sheets just to get the sensation of sleeping in richness. Even if they have to wake up in total, destitution. It's like, is it worth it? The answer is yes. That's why I sell Bell and Branch sheets. It's like, don't sleep on poor people's sheets, folks. So it is definitely worth it. You want to wake up like a winner, wake up like a winner.
it's just like they just presented him like, oh, Ben, here's the
He's like, can I sell something? Can I sell like, some sort of, maybe some knives or something, masculine? And they're like, no.
The stats based on your performance is sheets.
Well, I don't know why that is the case. Like, what is the correlation between what I talk about and sheets?
We don't know. It's just that's what it is. That's what the computer says. Just do it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to trust the computer then. If it drives income, if it drives expansion, if we can, if we could do a merge. I always want to say merge.
Yeah, and they just go with that. I always felt that politics were lame. Then I briefly got into it for a bit and got sucked in. Now back realizing it's super lame. Yeah, exactly. An older guy I worked with tried to show me Shapiro, so I sent him one of your lives. That's that's awesome. Yeah, that's the power of a comedian and specifically an impersonator. It's not just about impersonating someone. And again, that's why I like BG. That's why I like Owen, is because it's not about doing a successful rendering of the person. Because there's a lot of people who do way better impressions than all of us, right? But they're not saying anything true that's deeper, and that's where you get a good impression. Like that's what makes a good impression, and it serves as a sort of you know a widowmaker in a way, because it reduces and reveals some deeper truth about the person you're impersonating without being hateful. It just shows some level of there's a vulnerability. So in my view, this is my opinion, a good impression captures the personhood of the person, but not doesn't need to be perfect, but more importantly, reveals the red scaleless section of the dragon. It shows a tiny little vulnerability in the dragon. Because everyone impersonating the dragon, that's easy. You just get really good at impersonating the dragon. You're like, I'm a dragon. I'm a dragon. You're like, that guy does a really good dragon impersonation. And everyone else is like, yeah, it's good. It's good, just like someone who draws really well can draw a photograph and you don't see the difference. You're like, wow, you really drew a photograph there. Which is different than, wow, you really captured the personality and the spirit of that person, and yet it doesn't look exactly like the person exactly, but it's enough. That's what people really appreciate, because it shows some other side that we all know is there. That's you can't grab it physically, but you know it's there. And that's the key, what suburban symbolism says, when you can send someone uh, an impression and then you kind of see a rhetorical thing that's actually being revealed that supersedes the actual impersonation. That's why you don't need to be good at impersonating to actually do a good impression of someone's thinking. I think impersonating someone's thinking and thought process is way better and more fun, higher level in my view, than just doing a good gig, you know. Because I've seen him. I've seen some amazing Jordan Petersons where I'm like, that guy blows me and everyone I know out of the water, but they're not saying anything. Lunch break over. Peace, J back. Hey, thanks, Ratso. I appreciate you coming in. Hanging. I think you people are doing a great job. A lot of people on the right are just into misery. Yeah, there's a lot of misery. Can you do an impression of Ben Shapiro doing an impression of Jordan Peterson?
Well, I'm not really comfortable doing an impression, but I'll give it a shot. It's like, let me see. um, uh, uh, read my book. Read my book. 12 Rules for Life. Read my book. Read my book. I'm a great thinker. I'm a great thinker. I'm a great thinker. I don't really do impressions. I mean, that's why I enjoy comedy. I like a lot of film and stuff, but I mean, I think I know better. I mean, I can sing a little bit. I'm a little bit musically inclined, but I mean, it's probably best for me to bow out of any sort of like comedic expressionism.
Must be nice to pull off shorts. I can pull off jorts. Jorts are awesome. Hemmed, pre-made shorts, very not awesome. Opposite of awesome. Love your Don Pettit. I can't get enough of it. Yeah, Don Pettit's hilarious. I'll probably do some Don Pettit for Unauthorized too. Do some fun space camp episode. I think I can pull that off. Again, for those of you late to the stream, I've been recently announced to be joining the unauthorized.tv fam. So if many of you are already subscribers there, $5 a month, I think minimum, which is awesome. And you have access to all of the creators there. And so if you want to support me and you want to see exclusive stuff, a lot of it, again, as I told the earlier part of the stream, is going to be exclusive content, mostly animation based, maybe some snippets of live stream stuff, but I'd rather really continue live streaming the way I do with you guys, but offer something you can't really get anywhere else. And so that's kind of the angle I'm going to take, and I think it'll add a lot of value. So go ahead and over there, I should be there. Maybe try to sign up for a subscription and support that platform. Again, the point of the platform is to get away from these other ones because we're constantly seeing ourselves getting booted. They grapple them, they stall them, they throttle them, they do all their tricks, and we're fine with their tricks. You know, we're not arguing for them to do things our way. And the whole point is, well, if there's a platform that does it our way, that supports what we support, the best thing to do is support it. But beyond that, the best thing to do as a creator, someone who makes stuff and is a part of that, is to actually make content only for them, at least some content that's only for them. And that's kind of what I want to bring to the table there. So, yeah, if you don't make your way over there, unauthorized.tv, and just look for my name, and I think you'll be able to sign up that way. And what's cool about it is that's a 50-50 split. Yeah, you'd think it like, these other programs, Subscribestar, which I've been a part of but don't really participate in it, and whatever it is, all of the big ones, they give a huge portion to their creators. And you can be swayed by that as someone who's making stuff, but it's not a good trade-off because, yeah, they'll give you 90% of the subscription, which is like cool, but they got to also take the entire thing away. They can just say, well, you get 90%, but, you can get 800 million for a Spotify deal, Joe Rogan, but here's your mouthpiece. Here's your ball gag. It comes with this amazing ball gag with the logo, company logo. No ball gags. No ball gags. The only ball gags at unauthorized.tv is no pulling the nonsense that the proponents of these big Silicon Valley empires pull. Not their narratives, not the SJW bullshit. And so that's kind of how I see it. So it's worth the 50-50 split because it won't go away. I think that's worth it. Gum. No ball gags until ball gags. Am I right? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's true, actually. There's always a ball gag. That's the thing is you don't want to. I got caught up in that maybe a year ago. Is like trying to pretend I'm a free speech absolutist. I'm not. Or pretending that, cancel culture is not good. But I'm like, well, it's not actually true. I'm a father. There's cancel culture all the time. It's basically what parenting is. So the question is, what are we really arguing about? And what the fake, just to wrap this up with the fake right. Fake right is pretending to argue they're all about all of it, right? But they're not. So stop pretending that you don't want to implement your own standards, that you don't want to set policies, community guidelines for any of these things. You do. And if you don't, then we also have the same problem because, if you're like, well, free speech, like anybody who's like a proponent of pedo, they have the same, I would die for them to say, I don't agree with this is the right's mantra. I don't agree with what they're saying, clutching their red pearls. But I would die for them to have the freedom to say, no, you wouldn't. Shut up. What are you talking about? You wouldn't die. First of all, you don't die. Second of all, you don't really want to give everybody the right to say anything. The free speech is about the government not being able to do it. If you had the choice, of course you would do it. Can you imagine if Candy Owens discovered JQ? The JQ? I don't know the JQ. I wish I had something to say. Well, you said it, Elron Cupboard. You said it. My only disappointment with UA is when they took that bald atheist on board. Oh, well, no, I mean, actually, the only issue I have with that is that is with Stefan. I think he should, if he's going to get on board with a platform who stands behind these terms and these new standards, that you go fully on board. That's all I would say. But no, you can take on an atheist. You can impact people, you guys. You can impact people. You can impact them with your community. You're not going to save people. Humans can't save each other. But no, I don't disagree with that. I think Stefan is at least in the inquiry and closer than he was to accepting that metaphysical truths, morality require transcendental mind. Transcendental mind must be knowable, and these kind of things. I think it's great. I don't agree with almost anything he says. Some things, but JBP and BS are gateway drugs for JB. Maybe. That's a funny way of looking at it, though. Here to say hi to Jim Bob. Hi, Jones. Lucas. Joe Gagan says Suburban and I had our own little meme war. No one attended. Well, you could always make a fake meme war out of nothing. Anyway, anything else from you guys? Any questions? Any last super chats? Any impersonations? Because I'm going on 87 minutes, and so I just want to make sure this saves. The longer I go, the less likely my phone saves or whatever. This is YouTube. Anything else to say? But anyone? No, I don't have an own impression.
Goodbye. Can Ben Shapiro say goodbye? Yeah. I mean, I like to say so long. It's like when I was training Brett, when I don't come home from work, I'm working all hours of the night at the Daily Wire, at the table, That's what it takes. That's what it takes to be the number one podcast and number one growing conservative podcast in the world. That's what it takes. It takes not coming home to say goodnight to my children. But here's the thing: free market capitalism, folks. It's like when I could call Brett, he's in my earpiece. He is on my phone, speed dial. The drop of a hat. Brett is over at my house reading to my kids with a mask of myself on. They don't know the difference. They're kind of groggy. They're kind of cranky. They're laying down. It's dark. And there is Brett sitting at the edge of the bed reading to my children, pretending to be me. So, I mean, the reason I'm talking about this is you said say goodbye. And the thing is, we say goodnight. Here at the Daily Wire, we say goodnight. We don't say goodbye.
Five Bitcoin Bear. Ben would sacrifice 50 men to defend your speech. That's just capitalism. Yeah, exactly.
I don't agree with anything you're saying, but I defend the right to you to say that. I love mantras. I love classical liberal mantras. They're the best. They are just the best. It's like, it's like when I realized my body was changing and I was starting to have thoughts, about the opposite sex. I felt a little guilty. I felt guilty. I felt yucky. I felt icky. My little tummy hurt a little bit. And, the only thing I could do is, act on it, It's like I didn't want to act on it with real people, though, because, it was scary. It's a scary time in my life, being, 12, 13, having my voice change a little bit, but it hasn't changed much since then, honestly. And here's the thing, Cogs. It's like, if you could do it lesser evil, then do it. by all means do it. It's like, and my lesser evil happened to be Ayn Rand. There is a huge volume of photographs that are just fine. For that need. And so that's what I got into early on. And it's like, and I never actually shook it, to be honest. I mean, actually this is very vulnerable to me to say, and this might actually get out and be a huge deal in the media storm, but I'm actually in a self-help group, it's like AA, but for Ayn Rand, it's Ayn Rand Anonymous, Addict Anonymous, Ayn Addicts Anonymous. And it's like, we meet with a couple of really important, good people, and, we try to help ourselves through because we're hooked. I mean, we are hooked. We're hooked. Don't buy poor people sheets. I mean, that's the thing. That's all, folks.
Bitcoin Bay. Ben would sacrifice 50 men.
Yeah, he would. He definitely would. I mean, that is the thing. Fucks.
Would I ever debate anyone? No, not as me. I might do a comical debate as someone. I would debate Jordan Peterson as a spoof. Like, could we debate something serious? Probably. Would I do it? Yeah. I think I learned my lesson. I think everything that's ever happened up until this point that has anything to do with debating people, it's not a good idea for me. I should stick to my philosophical rants, my ramblings, my cartooning, my animations, and stay away from debates. They're just boring. So the only way I would do that if I could make it not boring, and the only way I could think of doing that is doing an impression. But then again, it's like that's only fun if the person also is in on it, and then it's just like a fun skit, So essentially, it's like, yeah, if it's a skit, basically, was what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's just silly. I thought I would get into that. I've enjoyed higher level debates that I've watched. There's a certain ego. There's a part of it that serves your ego to do that. And, I have an ego. I want to show what I think. I want to show what I know. I want to destroy. Yeah. Oh, I owned him. That's not a good part of me. That's part of me I know exists, but I don't want to express more of that. I want to keep that part actually in check. And I don't think, at least for me, I don't think a debate keeps it in check. I think I liked debates when I was younger. Yeah, it just doesn't go anywhere. It's better to just say what you, as a person who creates stuff, who makes things, who makes humor, art, skits, songs. I'm starting to get more rigorous with my rule for myself, which is, if it needs to be said, say it in the way that I say it. Say it in the way that I create. Say it in my own unique, creative way. In the way that God gave me, the gifts that He gave me, which is discernment and some level of expression. It's not the gift God gave me isn't to debate. I know that. And so it's a good rule to have, especially for us creatives who can interact with a lot of this stuff. But when we're left to it, instead of writing a comment, instead of making the counter argument video and posting it, make something funny, make something beautiful, make something that's that can express what you're saying, but add something. It adds. I think that's a good rule for myself, and I think for a lot of us. Anyway, I gotta wrap this up. P.O. Box? Oh, I don't know if Megan's watching. Damn. Made by Jim Bob, 10940. hope that's right. Yeah, if you want to send me stuff. Again, I'm not going to read long letters. I love that Owen does that. I think if you write a letter, it's got to be like one paragraph. 10940 South Parker Road, number 814, Parker, Colorado, 108. Shit. Well, anyway, it's one of those. Sorry. I don't know the zip code. Megan's going to be very mad at me. All right, you guys, I got to go. Love y'all. Thanks for the support. Thanks for those of you who are going to go over and subscribe and support me at Unauthorized. You're not just supporting me. You're supporting everybody there. You're supporting the platform itself. You're supporting the future of all of this stuff. Because eventually, the companies get bigger. That's just the fact, and we're going to reach a point where it's, instead of complaining, set up the background, set up the backups, and this is what we're doing. So I'm gonna really be a proponent for it. All right. Anyway, bye.